Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Touchpoint Group Banking App Insight session. And this particular one, we're focusing on the UK Challenger banks for the month of October 2022. And Tony Patrick, in the digital age, core functionality and getting the basics right is so critical to allow your app features to shine. So, this month, we're going to take a sneak peek at some of the sentiment behind the ratings that users are giving these banking apps. And in particular, we're just going to use Metro as an example. Tony, over to you.
Great, thanks, Glenn. Getting those basics right is really important. We can show that with one of the leaders globally, which is Starling. But the banks quoted around for today are Starling, Monzo, Revolut, Atom Bank, Monese, Metro, and Chase. Let's just jump in and have a look at one of the first things which is useful to see is how things are going in terms of score. So we're seeing Starling is consistently high, so always above 4.5. And consistency is probably one of the things about them which is really important. They're always between 4.5 and 4.75 and just moving along very nicely. We did have a Metro challenge them to some extent in August, September, but they have dropped away dramatically in October. So yeah, they had done really well from that May increase. And to tell you what, like the way they were going, they were on the verge of challenging and overtaking Starling. So, but it's a very big task to do that because they are at such a high level. So we can also see a bit of bumping around at the bottom. My knees are sort of moving around there up and down, which is, the consistency is not, they're sitting around 3, it's consistent, but they're jumping up and down fairly often. So let's just have a look at what Metro Bank is up to. So this is just Metro Bank we're focusing on now and what's happened to them in October. So first of all, just to navigate what you're seeing here, this is the score for Metro across time. So August 4.5. As we saw, they were near that sort of top level, 4.5 in September, but dropped down to 3.7 in October. And one of the things, this red sitting here behind that is the number of pain points in these topics below. So how big was the pain for customers across these reliability and security issues? And we can see it's doubled pretty much in October, and that's why that score has moved the way it has done. But if I look below, I can quickly see where this has come from. So one of the things I can see, first of all, reliability is at 22%. That's increased a lot, but a lot of it has come from, we can see here, the score for October is 22.4%, and that has gone up 15 points from September. So that's massive. So before, reliability was only mentioned by about 7% of customers. It's now jumped to 22, hence the score drop. The same thing for broad technical issues. App crashes was previously at 0.4%. It's jumped up by 5.2 and got ourselves to 5.6. So clearly they have some issues to actually move forward on here. And if I look at that in terms of, say, let's look at technical issues. What I can do here is even just compare what they're doing compared to other banks in this particular set. So I'll just benchmark that briefly and have a look and see what's going on, and just see. I might just highlight Metro in this case. We can sort of see where they stand. So again, they're not the worst this time around. So we didn't see them drop to the lowest in the overall score, but again, having 20% of your customers talking about technical issues is a problem. Whereas the likes of our global leaders, Starling and even Revolut, are sitting up there sort of below 10% and even below 5%. So that is best practice getting to that level in terms of technical issues. Let's just see where these banks perform globally. So what we're seeing here is that engaged customer score. So this is, again, those giving a score and a comment, which allows us to have a really sensitive view of actually what's going inside that app. If your score goes down, we know what's actually happened because there's comments attached to it. So one of the things we can see here, if we look at this, the sort of the purple area here, we can see Starling is actually sitting second globally at 4.6. Not quite up there with US Bank, but it's doing very well, and it maintains that position across time. Whereas we can see the likes of Monese, we saw it sort of in the other chart, it's sort of lower there. But the likes of, again, this is the past quarter, so that drop we're seeing for Metro isn't actually in this chart at the moment. they obviously will go backwards if they maintain that drop. Let's then step in to understand why there is such a spread in these banks. Why is it spread across such a wide range? Let's just jump in and have a look. So this is just looking at October, and this is just looking at the scores for just October. So if we look at Starling, their score is 4.6 in October. If we look for Monzo on the far left here, their score is 3.4 in October. But what we can do, though, is have a look at this in terms of the sentiment. So what are people talking about in terms of this particular bank? Now, what we're looking at here is what makes Monzo different to the other banks in this set in October. What makes them different? What makes them stand out? One of the, obviously the middle one there, poor open accounts. There's issues with opening accounts with Monzo happening in October in particular. But one of the things we can see is there's a few positive things. So good app budgeting feature is actually, it stands out for Monzo. So Monzo are doing very well in that area, but they do obviously need to fix up other things that are going on. There's credit score things, there's postal address problems. So there's a lot of things going on inside there that they still need to fix. So that's interesting. What we can do, though, let's move up a level. Let's move up to others, perhaps even Revolut. Actually, Revolut's interesting. Let's go into that. So they're above average for this category, and let's see what's going on. So this particular category is good at functional appropriateness is actually an interesting topic. It's just showing the app is working well. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So I might even just select that and just have a look at the types of comments coming through there. And it's fairly broad. It works good. It works. It's excellent. It's useful. It does all the things I need to do. So very positive from that perspective. Very broad topic, but it does capture the sentiment about what's going on. But one of the things I'm seeing here, though, for Revolut is that what we tend to see is if you have your journeys in order and your navigation set up in a nice way, once you fix your problems with things like logging in or bugs and crashes and technical issues, these things should start to shine. Where in fact here for Revolut, we're not seeing any navigation is slightly negative topic. So we're not seeing any features popping up as being really positive. Now I'll show you what I mean by actually going in and having a look at one of our global leaders, Starling. So they've got their things like logging in under control. They've got their crashes and bugs under control. Now you can see where it shines. So suddenly, overall good banking app, great, that's fine. But what I'm seeing here is suddenly I'm getting journeys and features popping through as really positive things. So good spend analysis. So again, like Monzo, that's probably the two that have the best spend analysis. And we see things like there's good push notifications, good at viewing transactions. And we're seeing with others, if you can't get the extreme basics right, like viewing your transactions or making a transfer, then suddenly you can collapse in a big way. But Starling has that under control. This category has a lot to learn from Starling. They're doing a very good job of what they're up to. So I'd suggest learning to understand what they're up to and replicating that, or doing your own version of it at least to get things under control. So positive news for Starling, but others need to catch up. They're ahead by a long way.
Yeah, so I suppose a sneaky little plug there. If you want to be able to have a look at what Starling's doing using the technology that we've got to understand what their customers are saying, give us a shout. Have a great month, people, and we will catch you next month with more insights.